What's up, everybody? Joe Brown here. This is the Heresy Financial Show, and we are talking about real estate, a couple of big pieces of data that have recently come out. Number one, housing starts unexpectedly have gone up to the highest point since 2006. That is not a date that you want to be tied with or beating regarding real estate. We're also going to look at the other side of that coin, which is completions, because if starts are going up, what are completions doing? And then finally, we are going to look at a third piece of data that has come out recently with housing, and that is existing home inventory. Ready? Let's dive in. Market Disruptors Live is happening in just a matter of days now. It is from May 6th through 8th. It's happening in Dallas, and it's going to be an amazing event. Hope to see you there if you can join. Link is in the description below. All right, let's take a look at this. U.S. housing starts unexpectedly rise to the fastest pace since 2006. So we've seen construction reaching a pace of 1.79 million multifamily projects. We are seeing construction start to go up here. So let's take a look at this chart. Number one, we are seeing starts of new homes have been increasing. So this is 2009 here just for scale. Now we've seen them on the rise pretty consistently here. And now we are at a place that they were not at since 2006. Now, something to keep in mind. Building permits is this bottom line. We don't really need to pay attention to that for this video. Something to keep in mind here. This was not a decade long, but it was many years of lost production. So that's something to keep in mind here as we move forward, that we saw this drastic drop in new construction, and it has taken a long time to start to come back. So yes, we are at this place right now where new construction hasn't been this high since 2006, but you also have to take into account population has still been growing. People have still been moving out of their parents' house, or trying to at least. We still have immigrants moving into this country. We still, at this point in 2022, we still have a positive population growth. I don't know how long that'll stay the case in America, given the way that things are going and how we are making this place more and more unattractive to immigrants at this point. But at this pace, especially during the last 10 years, we have had a growing population, and we had almost a decade of lost construction here where new homes were not being built at the same pace as our population was increasing by. Now, this is a chart that I really want to focus on here because this shows this white line is completions, the blue line is starts. So yes, housing starts have been increasing, but housing completions have been trailing down. And this, just for time scale there, it's been a year, close to a year and a half of trailing down. We're seeing a big gap between starts and completions. Now, this is basically coming down to two things: labor and supply chains. Labor is getting, number one, if they can find it, very expensive. Number two, it's very scarce. The people who know how to build homes are aging out of being able to build homes. The people who are in the correct age range to build homes don't know how to do it. So there's a massive labor shortage right now, especially with the hard skills: plumbing, electricians, drywall, framing, roofing, everything in construction right now. Massive skill gap there, massive need for labor to come in. So that's one reason why we're seeing it take much longer for these completions to happen, and sometimes way longer than you would have expected, because they just can't find the people to get it done. The next thing that's going on is still supply chain issues. We're seeing entire ports still locked down, especially Shanghai right now. It's just absolutely a mess over there. These things are not going to resolve themselves very soon. We're seeing big delays. You have one thing get delayed in your production of a house, you can't finish the house. You can't just say, okay, well, we weren't able to finish the wiring for the electrician wasn't able to finish the wiring, so we'll just do that later. It's like, no, you can't finish building the house. Everything's got to happen, and so you get one piece missing, the whole project stalls. So that's a major reason why over the last 2 years, really, we've seen a major slowdown in the completions of these. And so we're seeing, yes, lots of new ones are being started, but that is not the main statistic to focus on here. We've got to look at completions. Now, Could the supply chains get resolved tomorrow and all this start to fix and then we have an explosion in supply? Sure. Does it look like that's going to happen? Not anytime soon. Now, because of that, we are still facing a supply and demand issue where prices are going up despite the fact that rates are going up, which means affordability is getting extremely difficult for real estate right now because not only is the price of the home going up, the principal that you're going to owe, but also the interest portion of that payment is going up. Normally, those should counteract each other. They should. If interest rates go up, prices should come down to compensate. If interest rates go down, price should go up to compensate. So affordability, in theory, shouldn't change that much. It's just how much are you sending to principal versus interest. But right now, across the nation, home prices are still growing. Very robust growth still at this point, at the same time as interest rates are going up. That is pricing out many buyers. And it is not because people don't want to buy a home. It is because they feel like they are getting priced out of the market. We can see from this chart here, many renters making less than $60,000 per year doubt they'll ever be able to own a home. This is what I've been saying for a long time about real estate, that the crisis in real estate is not a crash. The real crisis in real estate is that real estate is on the road to serfdom. We are seeing a nation of renters and landlords getting locked in. We are seeing classism start in just real estate because people who don't get into the real estate market might get priced out forever. They may never be able to get into it. We're going to have an entire portion of our population that is locked into renting forever. And even though the number of renters making less than $60,000 has been declining, if they haven't gotten into owning real estate yet, it doesn't matter. Their wages aren't keeping up with the inflation in housing, and so they're not able to get into owning, so they're stuck renting. The number of renters that are making more than $60,000 has been growing. This highlights a hidden floor underneath the prices of homes right now. According to this survey, 65% of these renters would prefer or strongly prefer to own if they could, and 67% think that housing in their area is a somewhat good or very good investment. They just can't get into it. They've been priced out. This represents a hidden floor underneath the price of real estate right now, that if the price of housing in an area starts to drop really quickly, very quickly, it becomes cheaper than rent because rent is so expensive right now. And as soon as those people can, they're going to buy because it's going to make sense. Lock yourself in for 30 years to a price of owning a house while your rent goes up every year. Which one are you going to choose? You're going to lock yourself into a fixed rate for 30 years if you can. So if housing prices come down enough, all the renters start to leave renting and buy homes instead. This represents a hidden floor underneath the pricing of real estate. And then finally, when in doubt, zoom out. Let's take a look at this chart from calculatedriskblog.com. Great newsletter about real estate here. And you can see long-term chart here of home inventory. So have we seen recently inventory increase? Yes, last month inventory increased. We have to zoom in quite a bit to see that little bump. That's as much as I can zoom in there. So yeah, we saw an increase over the last couple of months. That's a big jump. But when in doubt, zoom out. That is absolutely nothing for this long-term trend. And in fact, that's what happens cyclically as we go through these seasons. You get bumps and drops, bumps and drops. That's always what has happened based on the season of the year. So we're entering into that again. Absolutely nothing to worry about given the long term here. We can see when the housing market started to blow up, when everything was getting bad but people didn't know it, inventory was increasing. Not only that, but through 2000 through 2005, inventory was increasing this whole time. And then it started to explode right as people thought that they were getting really rich on real estate, owning multiple homes that were all empty. Bad deal here. Existing home inventory was skyrocketing. We don't see anything like that happening now. In fact, we see the opposite. Inventory has been declining for years and years and years on end. So this little bump in inventory is going to do absolutely jack to the home market, to the housing market, to real estate. So at this point, still nothing to worry about it. You do you, make your own decisions, rent, buy, whatever you want. I'm just bringing to you the data, and at this point, looks like still nothing to worry about. As always, really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.